Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red subscribe button.
Hi guys, a few years ago I built an ultra large format camera that's 24 inches by 24 inches. That's a pretty huge camera. So it's actually a simple build. It's just two square standard, one for the front, one from the back, and I connect them by a big bellows. So at the bottom there's no support base or focusing reel. I support the two standard by using two tripod. So it's kind of unstable and not easy to use. So after a while I dismantle the whole setup and recycle the wood and the bellows. So I thought that would be the end of my ultra large format camera building adventures. But who knows, just a few weeks ago my friend passed me a big lens. And I think I have to restart my ultra large format camera building adventure again. So when I say big lens, how big it is? So I measured it's about 8 kilograms heavy, and the focal length is 36 inches and f6.3. It is used up in aircraft to take aerial photos, and this is probably made during 1940 something, probably during the World War. Let me put this down first. So this video will be the first part of a series. Maybe I will have 2 or 3 more videos on the ultra large format camera making process. So in this video I will talk a little bit more about this lens, 1 or 2 things I built for this lens. Alright, so this is the lens. Next to it is a 4x5 lens and a film SLR, just to give you an idea how big this lens is. Right. In terms of height, it's about 28 cm or about 11 inches high. The front element lens diameter is about 15.5 cm or 6.5 inch. The lens came to me, it was actually quite dusty, and there's some fungus on the lens element itself. I have give it a wipe using alcohol. I think that removed most of the dust and the fungus. Probably not the best way to clean a lens, but taking into account that this lens is quite old, there shouldn't be any coating there, and it's really too big to send it to anywhere for professional cleaning. Right? It probably will cause a bomb. Right? So let me just show you how to remove the element.
Eventually.
So I have removed the front element, and inside there you can see that there's no aperture. I think the aperture was removed at some point of this lens life. So there's no aperture, so it will be wide open for now. Aperture is f6.3. The focal length is 36 inch. There's a serial number here. Not sure you can see from the video itself, but you can see that actually there's some marks of the where the fungus was growing, but I wiped it off. If you have any better idea on how to clean this lens, please let us know. Right, so I have removed the lens elements from the, what do you call this, the metal rim. So this is the top element. It's a biconvex lens element. This part is convex, the top part is convex, and the bottom part is also convex if we look at it at the angle. Right? A bit convex with something flat here. Right? So there's the top element. And then the bottom part, which is a thick piece of glass. This seems to be a biconcave. Right? Both sides is actually a concave plane. Right? So this is the two element. And this is how we stack up. So this is the back element, and I couldn't remove this ring further neither could I remove the retaining ring here by hand, and I don't have the tools to open it, so I'm going to leave it. What I can feel here is that on the side facing the lens barrier, this is a convex design, and then the lens element facing outside, this is a concave design. So you can see I have my simple lens support put here, raised up. Okay, and this is the window. So what I will do is to put my lens up here, and then put a piece of white cut somewhere here, so that an image will be formed on the white cut, and then from there we can so-called guess what's the image circle. So let's do it. Alright, so I put some clothes pads around the curtain, turning this lens or this room into a camera obscura, and then we can take a look at the image being formed when we put a piece of white paper somewhere here. I'm just using an envelope that contains 16 by 20 photo paper from Ufert. So this envelope should be more than 1620. So you just move the paper until you come to a point that the image form on the paper is sharp like now. So that will be the focal length of the lens at infinity. So I can see that this image circle is more than 1620, which is more than enough what I want to use it for. So this is the lens support that I built for this lens, because the lens is so heavy, and I don't think I can just mount it anywhere without a support that support the front part of the lens itself. Okay, so this is just a quick and dirty way of doing a lens support. A few pieces of wood, I cut the curve so that it will fit the lens. Right, so the lens being so heavy and big, it will require some form of support, especially this part, right? It can't be like an ordinary smaller format lens where you can just mount straight to the front standard of the camera. So I have built a lens support for it, just a few pieces of wood, and cut some curve that will fit the front part of the lens. Definitely this won't win any prize in any woodcraft competition. How I designed this is that it will have two height adjustment, because I was thinking of using this with a box camera. I will build a ultra large format box camera to use this lens. So it will have two height adjustment. One is this way and the other one will be this way, right? So I think that my box camera is not going to be a square shape. That's why I built it with two height, right? So okay, this is how it will fit. So this one height, go tilt this. Okay, so I imagine that this part will actually go into the box camera here, right? And this mounting ring will be mounted to the box camera or fitted in there, right? And if I need to change the height, there's only one choice, one other choice. Set the lens support to this, and then leave it here. So this will be at the higher position. Okay. As I mentioned, there's no shutter in the lens now, so I will definitely have to think of a way to control the exposure time. Of course, one way, since I probably be shooting with photo paper, is to use a lens cap. because photo paper the exposure time is usually in terms of seconds. So I can leave the lens cap on and off the front element, right? For example, exposure of 1 second, I say can leave it away 1000 and then put it back, right? Okay, so this is the lens cap that I have made using a piece of wood, right, and some cardboard to form the rim, and I use black tape. Again, it won't win any design prize, but it will definitely be functional. Hi guys, thank you for watching to the end of this video. As you can see, the lens is pretty big and heavy. So using it will not be like using any other large format lenses for the 4x5 or 8x10 camera system. You can see that I have built a few things. So moving forward, I may want to build a better shutter control other than using a lens cap, and also some water house stops, that means the aperture stop for this lens, so that we can have a bit more control over what aperture that we will use other than shooting it wide open at f6.3. Right. So to follow my videos, and I will update this ultra large format camera building process along the way. As usual, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red subscribe button.
Hi guys, in this video we are going to continue to talk about the ultra large format, the ULF camera build. This is the part 2. In my previous video I talked about the lens, and in that video I mentioned that the aperture is missing from the lens, which I found that it is incorrect. The aperture ring is actually very tight, but now I found that I can move it to open up or close the aperture. So that is one update from the previous video, which is good because now I can actually control the aperture without having to make waterhouse stops. So in this video, I'm going to continue to talk about the camera build itself. There won't be any woodworking involved because I am doing a rapid prototype. I do not intend to spend too much resources and time on building out this camera, because honestly I do not have the space to keep such a big camera. So I intend to use the carton cardboard to build out the camera body and then to use it. And I will of course keep the camera for as long as I can, but in the event that I need to dispose this camera, I can actually dispose just the cardboard that make up the camera body, and while keeping the lens and the lens support. So in the conventional large format design, we usually make use of a film holder so that you can have multiple film holder loading multiple sheets of film into them. But in my design, I actually do not use any film holder. Instead, I will load the paper directly into the box. I mentioned paper here because I'm going to use photo paper as the paper negative. And I will actually do some test shot to find out how well this design is. Does it build up to functional usage? Right, so to watch to the end of this video to see the complete design and the result of my test shots. Alright, so this is the box camera made from cardboard. Just showing you the front view. Okay, so this is the box camera that I have built using some cardboard, and this is the lens support that I talked about in my previous video. If you have not watched the previous video, please click on the link on the top right hand corner. So we have the lens support, which is made from wood, the lens itself, and then the cardboard, right? So this is the camera body, which I make from 2 carton cardboard. So this is the outer box, and then I just make a smaller carton box so that it can slide in and out. So this is a sliding camera design, right? So with no bellows. So there's actually 2 sleeve hole on the left and right of the box at the side, This is to allow us to load the paper at the back. Right, so we have both hands will go in to take out the paper from the envelope that's inside, and then we will secure it to the back of this. Right, you can see my hand here. Right, so this is the ground glass. But before we load the paper on the back, we will have to light proof this area. I'll talk about that later. Okay, so this is the black card that I will put against the ground glass before I load the paper in the camera. So this is just a mounting card. See, very crudely I put in some cardboard pieces to act as a light trap. Of course, we have to do a test shoot to see how light proof this idea is going to be. So when they are ready to shoot or ready to load the paper, what we can do is to put this against the ground glass. I just use a simple rubber pen to secure it. Okay. Rubber pen mechanism to secure it. Okay, so I will demonstrate how to load the paper onto the camera bag. So this is a different design from all those field camera that use film holder. So this one we're supposed to put the paper directly on the back of the camera, on the ground glass itself. So just assume that I've taken out the paper negative from the paper envelope that contains the 16 by 20 photo paper. So I just need to, first of all, put the bottom piece of the bottom part of the paper against the bottom edge, and then there are two magnets on both corners that will hold the paper in place. So I just have to feel for it, and then place down the magnet pen in the box at the same time. Okay, here you can feel it. Make sure it's flat. Okay, and that will be done. Okay, so now we are going to do a test shoot. So this is the test subject. Okay, just some random still life. On the other side, the camera is about, I think, 7 feet away. Okay, the lens is right there. It's back on the ground glass, the soft toy, the brick. Okay. So let's try to load the paper. Photo paper is already inside the box itself, and now before we load the paper onto the ground glass area, we need to cover up with this backing. This is really a test shot. I have never shot with this camera yet, so I actually not too sure how light proof this camera is. Okay. So let's pull it up. Let's pull up the So for photo paper, I'm going to meter at ISO 3. Okay, and because we are using aperture 6.3, so it's 4 seconds. Okay, so I will do exposure f6.3 4 seconds at ISO 3. So we only have the lens cap as our shutter control, so I'm going to take it off the lens for 4 seconds and then just cover it back. So that will be our exposure. The paper is already inside. Everything is ready, so let's go. 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, and then cover it back. Okay. And then we can put the photo paper back into the black envelope inside the box and process it. Because I do not have a darkroom at home, so I will do the photo paper processing in this paper drum, the Jobo 3063. This drum can process up to 20 by 24, so it's good enough for our 16 by 20 paper. So how it works that you pour in the chemical, you roll the drum around for the required time, and then pour out the water like this. Pour out the water and then pour in the next chemical, and then it should be done after the 3-step: de-wrapping, stop bath, and then fixing. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so we have the drum. I've mixed up 1 liter of Ufert paper developer 1+9. So now I'm going to pour it into the drum. So I have this kind of the funnel flexible hose thing that I'll insert into the drum itself. Okay, and then I will pour the developer straight in. So let's go. So this is the result of the first test shot. You can make out the image here, the soft toy, the brick, the box that the object are sitting on. But overall it's a very low contrast, and I'll try to convert this into a positive and let you see, but overall it looks quite bad. And I think there's some base fog, or there's some fog on the expired paper, as this is supposed to be blocked by the magnet, right? So it's to be almost white, but I can see that it's quite grey, right? And of course that our subject is in a kind of a low contrast scene, doesn't really help. So I'm going to do a second test shot by changing the scene, and then we can take a look at the result. Okay, because the first test shot of the soft toy turned out to be quite low contrast, coupled with the fog on the expired paper, so I thought I will try a little bit more contrasty scene of this bicycle in the evening sun. Okay, so let's take a look at the ground glass. So let's see on the ground glass. More contrast here because of the strong light. Right, so this is the result of the second test shot. I think it looks much better compared to the first one, where you almost don't see the tone. Here at least we can make out the different tone here, right? And of course I think it's mainly due to the light situation. Right, this is in a much contrasty scene. There are some marks here and there, but I'm not too worried. But no significant light leak as I can see. Alright, thank you for watching to the end of this video. As you can see, my second test shot turned out to be fine. There's no major light leaks as far as I can see. Of course, further testing will be needed to confirm that it worked well in all the different environment, including a bright sunny environment, which is not what it is today when I test it. So up to this point, I think I'm quite happy with the camera build. It's not the easiest camera to bring around and use, but I think for a rapid build, for a prototype, for a proof of concept, it works very well. It will certainly be very helpful if in the future I decide to build a more permanent camera body using wood and all that. So if there's any update to this ultra large format camera build, I will again post it in my YouTube video, so do watch out for it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at my next video. Bye!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red subscribe button.
Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of the 16 by 20 ultra large format camera build series. In part 1 I talked about the lens, in part 2 I talked about the camera build. If you have not watched these two videos, do click on the link on the top right hand corner. In this part 3, I'm going to talk about the shutter that I built for this lens. In part 2 of the video, I did a test shot and I used the lens cap as a shutter control. Simply remove the lens cap when you're making the exposure and cover it back when the timing is reached. So I think that works well for most of the time. But for this shutter, the main reason I built it is because I want to take my self-portrait. So in the event that there is nobody, I have no assistant or no one around to help me to remove the lens cap and putting it back, I have to make use of the shutter. So come along with me to see how I build out this shutter. The build is simple, it just involves some plywood, screws and hinges. You don't need to have much woodworking skills or power tools. Along with me and we will also do a test shot and to see how this shutter performs. So this is the lens support that I built for the lens. You probably see this in my previous videos in part 1 and part 2 of this ultra large format camera build. So today we'll talk about the shutter that I built for this lens. And it's a very simple one. As you can see, it's actually a flat shutter. It's just a piece of wood that will cover up the lens when we are ready to expose, and then uncover it when we are doing the exposure. Right? So it's just a piece of plywood attached. So I have attached this this piece of wood to the lens board using two hinges. The screws are a bit in the way, so I've actually carved up some wood here so that the hinges will not hinder the closing. Right? So you also see a few pieces of wood here, and so below there's another one. This is just to block the wood from opening up further. Not that we can't, but if we open it up further down, that means greater than this angle, it will take a longer time for it to close back. So I think this angle is quite alright. So the flap is actually quite straightforward. I have glued some black flap on this side, and then screw in two eye screw on this side and this side. Right? I'll explain why. And then of course we have another so-called brass handle here. Okay. So this black flap will actually make better light proofing when the flap is closed, so that the contact between the piece of wood and the flap and the lens are close up, so that there is no light leak. So how do we keep this flap attached to the lens itself? Okay, so I just make use of some very simple rubber band. Okay, the normal rubber band that you will use, or you can actually replace it with some elastic band, which I probably will, because this rubber band lose their resistance quite easily and I have to change them quite often. So what I have here is a piece of wood that will act as the toggle. It will prevent the rubber band from going out from the eye screw, and it's also a easy way to fit it, so you can see that, right? There's some resistance. It acts like a spring. This rubber band looks like a spring that will always bring the flap back to the lens itself. So I have two, one on each side, and you'll notice that this rubber band is actually just attached to one of the mounting ring holes. Initially I thought I need to build some piece of wood attachment here to secure the rubber band on this end, but I thought since we are using a cardboard camera and the lens mounting ring holes are not used, I might as well make use of it. So I'll show you another angle on how I attach the rubber band to the flap. Okay, that's a simple rubber band. It will not fall off, but yet create a good contact with the flap and the lens. So how about this handle here? What is it used for? Of course, one way is that we can manually pull it down, right? But my intention was to use it for taking self-portrait. So one way, or the simplest way, is to simply tie a string to this knob. In my case, I tie a wire, because this is the long spool of wire that I have, and because of the distance of the camera to the subject or to myself, so I need a long cable to actually pull the flap down, right, like this manner. Okay, so this is a remote release. So I will also make use of this pulley, which I'll put on the floor when I'm sitting down to take my own self-portrait. The reason is because instead of just pulling down the wire to trip the shutter or to open up the flap, so what I want to do is translate this to a pulling up, right? So if you can take a look at so if I pull up the wire, that will open up the flap also. So if I'm the subject, I think it's easier for me to pull up the wire rather than pulling down the wire, right? Thank you for watching to the end of this video. As you can see, the shutter works. I'm not saying that this shutter will work on all lenses because this lens is actually 8 kg heavy, so it's unlikely to suffer from any major shake when you pull and release the board itself. There are bound to be some variation when I pull and release the shutter, but I don't think that's going to be too obvious on such a big negative. What I can see from all these test shots is that it's more of the motion blur because of the long exposure time of 4 to 8 seconds, and also in terms of the arm action where I pull the string. Of course, this kind of shutter is most useful when you are looking at probably a longer exposure time of a few seconds. If you are looking for something of a faster exposure time like 1/125 of a second, you probably have to look at another design. Okay, so but it was fun doing out this shutter. I will think and see is there any other improvement I can make to it. If you have any ideas for improvement or any other thoughts on this shutter, please leave it in the comment section below. And again, thank you. I'll see you at my next video. Bye! Hi guys, we have come to the end of this video. Please like it, share it, and finally do subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you at my next video. Take care. Bye!